And this is what my marigolds that had dried out yesterday when I went to the river, and when I came home I forgot to come out in water. And the sun had come out and got it warm. You can see where they've recovered quite nicely. And what I did is I put these in another clean tray, and I watered them so they could sit in the water for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then I sprayed water on the leaves, and then I put them in this tray, and I put them down here out of the sun all day, and I'm going to leave them right there over the night. It's not going to hurt them, but I'm not going to let them get back into full sun until the leaves all fill out. Now my Sego Palm tree is sending out babies. Haven't had that happen before. A little other one back there needs probably a little more sun. Some more of my transplants. I've had the calla lilies right here. I just took them down to do a video. I'll stick them back up here so they can get some more light. Well, the Fashion Azaleas have finally started to flower. They're always a little later than the regular ones. They're loaded up this year. Look at the flowers that haven't opened. Our Rome apple tree is set fruit. I'm sure the squirrels will be happy because they get them all. We haven't eaten an apple off of this in several years, and it's still in flower. And the little grapes are all showing up. Starting to get all kinds of new growth. That's how they get 10 to 20 feet long. They do, all quick growers. I've left more on this because I didn't know what it was going to do. I might still come in here and thin this out because it's a little too much on this side. Been busy, too many things to do. Took my weed whacker rather than get the lawnmower out because the grass needs to be cut. But I just weed whacked this flat because this is where I'm going to put my tomatoes outside. And I needed a place to put them. And you really, if you have a level, you need to make sure these are fairly level so when you water your tomatoes in a big wooden box like I have, or even in trays, that the water is evenly distributed to all the plants, so some don't get too much and the others get too little. Nice thing about the azaleas, they're real showy, but they're only showy for a small period of time, and then the rest of the year it's just a big old green shrub. But I think it's worth it just to see all the flowers. And this is the back of our property. Our lot's about 95 feet wide and 110 feet deep, which is a fairly good sized lot in a subdivision. That's one of my favorite colors. Shame we don't have a sun out, it'd be a lot prettier. And of course my wife loves purple, so this would be one of her favorites. Talk about a toadstool. Excuse me, coming up. When they cut this tree down last year, all the branches hit right here, and I've got some compost that's compacted to hard soil in one of my bins, and I'm going to shovel it in a wheelbarrow and dump it in this hole after I remove those mushrooms. And that's elegans. It's a sterile hosta, but it's gorgeous, even though it's sterile. Well, I got my hose out because everything in the gazebo needs watering. I haven't trimmed back these impatiens and let the light adjust in here. I brought some of my jade plants out here. So far the squirrels haven't eaten them. Several years ago we lost a lot of them when we came out here, and they'd eaten them to where they died. One little cactus that's been in that pot for 6 or 8 years since we bought it at a big box store. Look at that silly thing. That thing bloomed the first year. Well, when we bought it, it was about dead. They were selling it for like $1, and it bloomed for months, and it's still doing its little trick of blooming after Christmas cactuses bloom. But anyway, some of these plants need to be repotted, especially that broken one there. I don't know if you've noticed, but it doesn't appear, it's in the shade there, let me move over here. It doesn't appear that anybody sells hanging baskets except online, and the shipping is prohibitive. And I couldn't figure out what it was, and my bride said, well, in her opinion, people today want everything ready-made, and since there's so few people growing their own flowers, or they don't want to spend the time to buy a basket and potting soil and plant their flowers in them and make their own hanging baskets, that there's no demand. But I've gone to every store that I can find and nobody sells hanging baskets anymore. Just another thing changing of the times.